Jean Grover, born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1962, has gone by many labels in her life. Graphic designer, writer, artist, mother, and wife. One she has just recently embraced is the label of thalidomide survivor.
In the late 50s and early 60s, there was a drug in use in the world. It was called thalidomide. Doctors who had served time in prison for Nazi war crimes take responsibility for inventing thalidomide. It was a drug that was advertised as being very safe. And then it was discovered that it was effective in alleviating morning sickness for pregnant mothers. There were approximately 2.5 million tablets distributed to 1,300 doctors in the U.S. prior to FDA approval, which never came. Before the FDA could approve it, it was discovered that it was causing devastating birth defects. I was born in 1962. There was no ultrasound. Women were completely shocked at their babies being born with deformities, including my parents. They had no idea.
Growing up, Jean didn't let her disability get in her way at all. She lived a normal and happy life, not worrying about what others may have thought of her. But of course, societal roadblocks got in the way.
Growing up, I really can say that I had a happy childhood. The struggles that I do recall all had to do with discrimination and being underestimated and undervalued for what I could contribute to society. I was going to elementary school in Kentucky. It was a segregated school, and by segregated I mean only children with disabilities were allowed to go. When I was about 9, my family moved to New York State, thinking that, hey, New York is way more progressive, Jean will be able to go to public school. And once again, we found ourselves at a meeting where we were being told, oh, this area has the most wonderful school that can accommodate all of your daughter's needs. It's not in the suburban community, it is in the inner city of Rochester. After my parents had carefully selected this community, I got to go to school in the city to a segregated situation. I honestly can say I was not bullied, and the reason I think that is that I'm the kind of person that finds humor in just about everything, and I was always beating people to the punch at laughing. So it was really no fun to try to bully me.
It was also in Jean's early years of schooling that she and her family realized how great of an artist she was.
9th grade, I won a Scholastic Art Award. I was kind of a significant award. And the media was there and everything. And then suddenly I became aware that, my gosh, I'm the story here. And it wasn't that I had won the art award, but it was because I was disabled and won an art award. And I remember thinking, that's really silly. This makes no sense. But I gradually learned the way of the world. Drawing doesn't really depend on having standard hands, because I think it's probably 90% from the head and the heart, and then only 10% has anything to do with your hands, and it'll come out if you've got it.
Jean carried her love for art with her through high school and into college, where she attended RIT for graphic design. After college, but before Jean became a marketing manager at the Villa of Hope, she started a family that would eventually grow to include 4 kids.
So my first child was actually 2 children, because I had twins. And that was amazing. I love my role as a mother. I think that one of my concerns was that as my kids got older, they would have a problem with me being a disabled parent. I would say that my fears of that were completely alleviated one day in preschool when I was invited to go to the Mother's Day brunch. And I did think, I'm like, oh my gosh, all these kids are gonna see me. I'm gonna sit down at this table here, and the kids are gonna wonder what the heck is going on. Kids came in, several kids noticed me, and they said, who are you? What happened to you? What happened to your arms? And then there was a barrage of questions, and I was a little bit at a loss, but my son Jake, he's the one that stood up all of a sudden at the table, and he said, listen to me, everyone. "This is my mom." And then he went on to explain, "This is my mom. She can draw, she can feed herself, and everything's fine." And I believe he did get a pencil out, I think, for me to draw something for the kids. And that really broke the ice. But I give Jake a lot of credit with defining my life for me.
After the birth of the twins, her third child came from an originally unexpected place.
I had the boys, and then a friend of mine who had adopted a lot of children, for some reason, she forwarded an email to me about this little girl in India who was 1.5, who had not had good luck with adoptions. I became interested in her story and I read up on it. And then the next thing I knew, I was contacting the orphanage and saying, "What's involved in adoption?" And 2 years later, I did adopt Priya, and it's been pretty cool. Priya has a disability. She has arthrogryposis. She's otherwise been a very, very good student and very enterprising and very independent.
It was a few years after Priya was adopted that Jean found real happiness after meeting her husband, Keith, and later giving birth to her fourth child, Sarah.
Wasn't really thinking about it, but did meet a wonderful guy. He's ended up being the love of my life, and we really hit it off, and I remarried. And he and I had Sarah together. That was my fourth child. And it's really been the best time of my life these past 15 years.
Today, she is more successful, comfortable, and content in everything she does than she ever has been, and truly doesn't feel as though she lives all that different from anyone else.
I feel like I live a normal life. I think that for me, normal, though, is relative. In my view of the world, it's normal. My life is very, very dependent on accessibility. Accessibility costs a lot, but as long as all of that stuff is in place and I keep the balance, this little house of cards that is my life, as long as I keep all of that correct, then I have the money to pay for the accessibility to keep living a normal life.
Upon meeting Jean, many people may feel sorry for her or pity her. But especially after living a full and successful life, Jean only cares for those that can see through her disability to the well-rounded person she truly is.
People underestimating me has been part of my life. It's always been the reality. If somebody wants to doubt that I can do something, or they want to belittle my credibility or my value, then I just am going to move on to someone else because I don't have time for that. That's true. My aspirations for the future are probably about the same as anybody my age. I want to pay down some of my debt. I want to see my kids be happy. I want to see their successes, maybe grandchildren, maybe do some traveling. And for me personally, I'd like to continue to connect with God and to die a good person.